Jeffrey Epstein and his partner Ghislaine Maxwell are some of the biggest child predators this country has ever seen. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein say that Ghislaine Maxwell was every bit as evil, if not more so, than Jeffrey himself. These victims say they were raped 2 and 3 times a day at the instruction, oversight, and participation of Ghislaine Maxwell. What does Donald Trump do with such a horrific sexual offender? Well, he sends his failed lawyer, who got him 32 counts of felonies in his felony trial, to go meet privately with Ghislaine Maxwell and to record it. And what does she do? She says, "Oh, I never saw Trump do anything inappropriate." And then she gets moved to a country club style prison. I think they're going to let her go out on work release. They say a pardon is in the works. And she's clearly lying, but this is what MAGA does on purpose. They use contradictory things at the exact same time to make sure the base stays locked in to the cognitive dissonance to which they have been programmed their entire life. So who do they trot out? They trot out sex offender apologist and facilitator, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. And Jim Jordan is such an incredible piece of shit. Mm-hmm. He was a wrestling coach, and for like 2 decades, these young men were sexually abused by their doctor. And Jim Jordan knew about it. Jim Jordan did nothing about it. And because there's always space in the Republican movement for sexual depravity and for covering up sex crimes against children, MAGA trots him out on camera this weekend to vouch for a child rapist. Play the clip.
We'll see. What I know is they didn't release parts of the transcript. They released the whole transcript. And you know, so you can go through the whole thing. And, of course, this confirms what we all knew. If the Democrats, if President Trump had done something wrong, you don't think the Democrats would have released that? I mean, it was their Justice Department who handled all this. You don't think the Garland Justice Department and the Chris Wray FBI would have released information? We knew President Trump didn't do anything wrong here. He said that repeatedly. This transcript is the whole transcript, and it confirms that. So, yeah, I think this is there's nothing there. It seems based on what we got from.
Okay, I just want to say about Jim Jordan first. This is a man that when it all came out at Ohio State that the doctor had been sexually abusing the men in the wrestling program.
Some of them were raped.
Some of them were raped. And it wasn't just the wrestling program. He called and cried to the men that were abused and said, to the effect, "You will ruin my political career if you tell on me." He wasn't worried about the victims. He wasn't worried about what was right. He was worried about Jim Jordan. And when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell, she's a perjurer. She has, of course, the Department of Justice released the full transcript of her interview because she needs Trump and Trump needs her. They were good friends. I read a book about it this weekend. Their friendship goes back to when her dad was alive, Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell. Nobody has given a shit about what the victims say. Nobody gives a shit about the convictions in MAGA, I should say, in the MAGA party. They don't seem to give a shit. And then justice is screwing around and not releasing anything but Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony when we know from reports inside the jail, Ghislaine Maxwell was peddling shit on Trump to Biden for a pardon during his term. So please do not insult my intelligence with this man and this line of bullshit.
Well, there's a reason, Pumps, he went to Fox News, and it is because they know that an average person is not going to believe this bullshit, but people in Fox News are programmed and hardwired to believe these contradictions. So it's intentional that they trotted him out. But what's important for all of the mothers and fathers and just decent human beings out there, you need to realize and recognize that this MAGA movement is a party that protects criminals and predators and doesn't give a shit about children. In fact, they take the side of Vladimir Putin, who has kidnapped 1.6 million children. They take the side of Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the world's #1 killer of children right now. And these people don't care. It's all a ruse. And when you vote for them, you are pro-pedophilia and anti-child as well. And that's just how it is. You're going to have to look in the mirror every single day and face that fact that that's who you are and that's what you support. Moving along, this cognitive dissonance that goes on in MAGA, they're so stupid. Put this up by Brett Misalis. So Gavin Newsom puts, wow, Bible already sold out. And he made a Patriot shop trolling Trump's flea market, right? And Spitfire, who is at Dog Right Girl, I cannot imagine documenting your stupidity like this online so that when you're dead, your grandchildren, who hopefully are not as racist, piece of shit like you are, realize, God, look at how stupid Meemaw was. Now you are mocking the Bible. There is no low enough for you. Brett Misalis, our friend, says, laughing my ass off, there's no fucking way. She doesn't see it when Trump mocks the Bible. And then they think, and this just shows they have no conviction about anything except for owning the libs. Right. That's the only thing they have. Moving along with this whole MAGA cognitive dissonance, I would like to focus your attention on the Latinos for Trump. Let's put up the tweet first, Kylie. The Trump administration says grants for Hispanic serving colleges are unconstitutional and it won't defend them in court. And here is the Latino for Trump organizer, who I believe her husband has now been detained by ICE. Here she is at a big Trump thumper rally, just hooping it up for Kanks. Play the clip. Okay. Arriba, arriba. Well, guess what happens when you vote for people who did this during their RNC? This was simultaneously happening with the big Latino Arriba, I will vote for Donald Trump. They're doing this shit. Put it up. Mass deportations now. And I don't know how to talk to people about this. I don't know how you sit down a grown adult and say, see all those white faces? You see that in the audience? This is what they're doing. So I will vote for Donald Trump means you're voting for mass deportation now. I don't know how to sit down with a grown adult that is competent enough to put on a concert, send out invitations, put it on the social media, make sure we have a drummer, trumpet player, all the stuff. So clearly there's a competency level. I don't know how then, if somebody is competent enough to put on a rally like that, I don't know how then to explain you're voting for this. Put that back up, Kylie. Mass deportations. Now, I don't know how you get dipshits to understand when they're stupid. I don't know.
I don't think you can, because this is not just isolated with the Hispanic community. You have the small businesses and farmers who are now like, we have to file bankruptcy for our farms. Like, bankruptcies are up already more than all of last year because they're going in and they're taking the immigrant labor. And these small business owners were like, I'm a Trumper. I didn't think he was going to do this. So it's the cognitive dissonance. They didn't think he was going to do this. You see all the protests by Palestinian people during the Trump or Biden administration, and Trump makes a Hotel Gaza video. Like, these people, I don't know if they've otherized that this wouldn't happen to them. That's what they continue to say when I see them in clips. I didn't think this was going to happen to me. So I'm with you. How do you make them understand that it doesn't matter what you are, according to this administration, unless you are white, you are a white male, you are on the chopping block, full stop.
I mean, you just can't shame the shameless.
You
know?
Cannot.
And so I would just want to move along to another issue here. Brian Tyler Cohen is reporting the following. Trump has reportedly ordered the military to draft plans to deploy troops against Americans in other areas that voted against him last year. Chicago is likely next after DC. And this is where white men can fall prey to a fascist regime. This is where every warning sign was there. People like us were accused of being hyperbolic, but I wonder if somebody could have warned us that he was going to do this. I wonder if somebody could have told us this is what this man is going to do. Put up the headline. The Hill did a story that says Kamala's newest lie: Trump will send the army after you. And the guy who wrote this article, his name is Derek Hunter. And of course, he hasn't updated this, but the Midas Touch retweets all of this and says the road to fascism is paved by publications who endlessly smeared Kamala Harris by running pieces like this. And at the end of the day, this dismantling of democracy, and I don't know how, if we make it to the midterms, I don't know how you return to a world of checks and balances because there's been so much erosion. I'm hopeful for it, but I don't know how you do it. But I do know this. I do know that publications, 77 million Americans, and all of these people that engage in this cognitive dissonance, that want to be cruel to others, that can dish it out, but they can't take it. And that's the thesis sentence for these pricks. They can dish it out all day long, but they can't take it. I guarantee it that if Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and Lil Smokey and Moses Mike Johnson, if any of their Google search history or some sort of secret of theirs was revealed, they would piss their pants live on camera. These men are cowards. They are weak. They are bullies. And I believe that we have a very small window, a very small time to keep at these people. We have to keep hammering at how hypocritical, depraved, and cruel they are, because they have intentions to militarize all the streets. And the reason for that is Kanks is going to drop dead, per Alex Jones, within 12 months. Okay. So Kanks is going to drop dead. Lil Smokey does not have the riz. So they have to have a military enforce to make sure that power isn't transferred. That's why DC was first. Who's going to enforce the transfer of power if the military is reporting to Lil Smokey, who's reporting to the Antichrist, Peter Thiel? It's all intentional, and we have to keep hammering at them. Okay, that's all we have for this episode. Buy our book, pinned below in the show notes. Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.